What's up, guys? Today is opening day of archery here in Oklahoma. So I'm gonna go out this morning on some public land that I have really close to where I work, so it works out really well. But hopefully we get out there and we get us a doe. If we're lucky, we'll get a buck, but we'll see. But it's supposed to have a north wind today, so hopefully we stick with that all day. That'll work perfect for that spot. But just stay tuned and see what happens. It's right at first light right now. I haven't seen any movement yet whatsoever, but I have been hearing stuff behind my right shoulder. We've got a pile of corn sitting out about 25 yards. It's been sitting there. I don't know if nothing's hit it in the past couple of days, but I know I put it here about 5 days ago and came back the day after to work on this blind, and nothing had touched it yet. So I'm hoping that today, early this morning, they find it, or maybe yesterday they found it and they come back looking for more, but we will see. Hopefully we get some movement soon. We can slog down a big doe on opening day, but we shall see. Now that I got a little bit more light, I figured I would show y'all kind of what the setup's looking like and what we're working with here. I had to cut out the back of this blind in order to get it to work properly for me. It said that it was a one-person blind, turned out to be a half-person blind. So I had to do what I had to do in order to get it to work. I've got this cedar backdrop here, big cedar tree I'm kind of tucked off into. Let's see if we can get this to spin this around real quick. Guys, we had a bit of a wind switch. I checked out my wind calendar and it turned into a west wind. North wind that we had turned into a west wind, and right about as soon as it actually turned, I heard a doe right on the other side of these cedars in front of me start blowing. Sometimes that's how the dice roll. We're not going to give up yet. We're going to continue. Well, guys, this hunt today, I'm not going to say it was a bust, because I did come in here and with a good wind, and I think if the wind would have stayed north, that I probably actually would have killed something today. Probably about 7:20, I had a doe blow on me past the cedars, and I didn't think nothing of it after that. I kind of just sat around and hung out for a little while. I figured nothing else would come through. And so right about 8:40, 8:45, right before I started to walk out, I was like, well, let me put this camera up. I've been wanting to put a camera back here in this spot and kind of get it up and get out of this sunlight real quick. Get back to the truck. But I was wanting to put a camera up. And so I decided, well, I'll go ahead and set it up here on this game trail that's on the other side of this bedding. And so I set it up there, and I kept hearing these dogs bark, and it sounded like a smaller dog, like a Chihuahua or something. So I wasn't really too worried about it. And as I'm putting this strap, as I'm untying this strap to get the strap onto... Sorry, I just seen something. As I'm untying this strap to get this strap onto the tree, I walked around, and these dogs just kept getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And I'm not gonna lie, by the very end of it, it sounded like they were like 15, 20 yards from me. So it kind of freaked me out. Well, as I'm sitting there, I started hearing something running, and I thought it was them dogs. I turned around, and it was a doe running full blast at me. I'm telling you, she probably passed by me like 5 foot away. To say that it got my heart pumping was to say the least. It honestly wigged me out. And then while I'm standing there after that doe passed by me, those dogs that I thought were little came through the same way, chasing that doe. And let me tell you, they were not little. They were big dogs. Like 2 or 3 real big dogs. Like, I mean, they would have torn me up if they had seen me. I don't know how they seen me. I think they were just hyper-focused. I'm all camoed out, but I think they were just hyper-focused on trying to get that deer and chase down that doe because, man, they zipped right past me right after that doe did, probably 10 seconds after that. After that doe passed me, them dogs came through chasing. And, dude, I'll tell you right now, I've been freaked out and boogered up in the woods before. Stuff creeped me out and scared me, jump scares and stuff like that. But that is another level of freaking scared. But other than that, you know, we had a good morning. It was a good morning sit. Felt good to be back out in the woods, first day of the year. I typically don't sit too long of sits. They're usually shorter. They're not too long. I do have children at home and I have a wife at home. And so I try to sit in the stand or in the blind for an hour and a half at least. I try to push it to at least 2.5 hours to 3 most of the time. But sometimes I'll go out and just sit, you know, for an hour and a half, but not all the time. But we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tunker down and get back in the house, go get something to eat, and then after that we're gonna go back out again, probably around 5, sit till dark. I don't know if I'm gonna go here. It really depends on what my wind does. If my wind is right, we will probably try to go to my other spot on public that I really want to hunt, but I try to stay away from there if my wind isn't right. Pretty much with every spot. If you're a decent hunter, you should anyway. Wind is everything. You can put all the cover scent you want on. You can put all the sprays, the dead downwinds, the scent killer gold, the scent thief. You can put all that on, but the best scent protection is playing your wind right. And today I thought I did, and lo and behold, there was a wind switch right at about 7. Put my wind straight west, the exact way I did not want it to go. But that's how the dice roll sometimes. Luck of the draw, I guess. But I will get back with you guys here in probably, it's 9 right now. I'll probably touch back base with y'all around like 1 or 2. I'll probably be shooting my bow and just making sure everything's still tuned up and good and ready to go. I'll catch you guys later. All right, guys, it's about 4:30 in the afternoon. I know I told y'all I'd get back with y'all at 1, but had to watch the kids and decided to just go ahead and hang out for a little while, watch some YouTube videos and whatnot, and just hang out. And my wife had to go get groceries and stuff, so I let her go ahead and do that. But I figured with the time being, and you know, while I have the time, I could go ahead and show you guys my setup for this year and what I'm going to be using. So I just recently went ahead and bought the new, well, it's not new now because they came out with the Adapt 2, but I've got the Adapt Plus. It's a beautiful bow. I'm glad I was able to get it this year. I've got the hot wire sight. I've got the Trophy Ridge Hitman stabilizer, and as of right now, you can tell we've had to kind of get a little bit eccentric with it. I literally taped this Tacticam cell quarter on there so I could go ahead and try to get some good footage while I'm taking shots. So we'll see how that goes. If it even stays on, we'll check that out. Pretty short draw length. I only have a draw length of 26 inches, so I shoot this bow all the way maxed out at 70 pounds to try to get as much speed as I can. It sucks for short guys out there. If you have a short draw length, you're not going to be able to push as much speed as you probably would like, but that's okay. The arrows I'm using are the Gold Tip Pierce 300. It's got I think the GPI is 9.1. I think the weight that we're looking at with a 100 grain broadhead, I think that I have them at like 420 something, 428, something like that. But I'm thinking about going ahead and moving up and getting a little bit heavier of a broadhead, maybe a 125 to a 150 grain broadhead, and see how that goes. I think it'll give me a better front of center and maybe help me push out some of them arrows and get better penetration. I also I use fixed, no, I don't use fixed, I use mechanical broadheads. I'm a big fan of Schwackers. I've always used them. I've never had a problem with them. I know a lot of people complain about them, but I've never had a problem with them myself. I really want to switch. I've always used the 207s, but I really want to use the new Levi Morgan series. I know they've been out for a little while now, but I've really been wanting to check them out and use them. And they actually come in, I think, a 125 grain, and it's a bigger cut. So I'm really interested in trying to use that and get that all figured out. And hopefully we can get it figured out by mid-season. It doesn't take me too long. But yeah, so 32 axle to axle. I think it's got a 6.5 brace height. Could be wrong. But yeah, man, it's a great shooting bow. It's got a fabulous draw on it. The back wall is all there. The cycle is just tremendous. Got a little bit of noise. It's probably the only complaint I have about the bow is that it's a little loud, but I hear that's pretty common with bear bows. My buddy, he shoots a older Hoyt. It's not newer, but man, it's a fast shooting bow. I will give him that. It's fast, it's accurate. I mean, it's everything you need. It'll do everything. But the back wall is just not there, and that's why I've always been. The first bow I ever shot was actually a Bear Pledge, real cheap. Bought it at a pawn shop, and spent some time tuning it and getting it right. I actually killed 3 deer with that bow my first season I ever hunted. And actually, the first season I ever hunted with a compound was actually 3 years ago. No, 4 years ago, sorry. And yeah, I hunted with that Bear Pledge, and I killed plenty of deer with it. And even for being a cheap bow, the draw cycle on that bow and the back wall was still all there, and I really like that. Obviously, I've came a long way and upgraded. This originally came with the, let's see if I can turn it around for you. This originally came with the V-Biscuit, but I actually swapped that out for a QAD Hunter Ultra Rest. And it's really nice. I really like it. I wouldn't change it. Right now, because I'm shooting micro diameter arrows, I'm actually having to tote my arrows with me, sadly, because I had a G5 headlock system, and it actually will not accept my I think these are 5 mil arrows, because I've always shot Easton 6.5s, but that's all right. I've always shot the 6.5s, and it kind of widened out those quiver spots for my arrows. So now I'm kind of stuck just toting my arrows around in my backpack with me, but that's okay. You know, whenever I get into the stand, I can hang it up on a hook and have my arrows right there ready for me, and it's all good. In a blind, I can sit them right there on the ground, and they'll be ready for me too. So it's no big deal, you know. It's just something we're gonna have to work with. But I figured while I'm out here, I might as well go ahead and take a couple shots and see how that all goes. See how we're working. I'm not gonna lie, I shot basically all day yesterday before the opener. That way I could be ready. And today I just wanted to make sure I'm still good. You know, I took it out and kind of had a rough morning, and just want to make sure. Dogs keep barking at me, but I just wanted to make sure that everything was good on it, and you know, just continue to work with it, because I've only probably put maybe 300, 400 shots through it, and I believe the strings are still kind of getting worked in. If you know anything about bear bows, their strings are already kind of tight, and I definitely had a big problem getting my peat put in there correctly and fixing that all up. But it's gonna work out no matter what. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and we'll take some shots. I'm gonna flip this camera around. And shooting range right here. Right now I'm right at about 20 yards, and I will go shoot it, and then I'll go down there and show y'all the results. I actually had 6 arrows. I bought a half dozen at the beginning of the season, and then I busted a knock on one shooting the other day, so I'm down to 5 arrows, and I have 3 broadheads on 3 of them, and they're in my backpack, and I just didn't feel like getting them out. So I've got my spare 2 with my field tips on there that I'm just going to go ahead and just shoot those. And it's not that I'm coming out here to do a bunch of reps. I just wanted to come out here and just make sure I'm good for evening hunt. Just shooting straight. So let's go ahead. We'll go down there, see what it's looking like. All right, guys, we're back at this spot by my job that I got ran off from this morning by some dogs. I really didn't get ran off. They ran my deer off, but I didn't get ran off. They left me alone by the grace of God. But we're back tonight. Hopefully we don't get ran off again. Let me switch sides. The light's kind of in my face. But hopefully we don't get ran off again. But we shall see. May not have nothing come in, but I know these deer like to come through and walk this tree line, and I think they'll come through right where I'm at. I got the right wind, so see how that goes. Hopefully we don't have any more wind switches like we did this morning, but we shall see. I dropped my buddy off, Trevor, on the other side of town. It's actually right on the outskirts of town, and at a private spot he's got. He's had permission there for the last 2 years. Killed a really nice 150. I think it was a 153 gross last year off of there in rifle. Really nice buck. And yeah, he killed that. And I think he killed another smaller, like a 110 off of that same property. And it's just a big open field. It's not even a whole lot of anything really there, but a big open field, a pond, and just a little patch of woods. It just butts up to some property that's got a decent amount of woods on it. So he's over there right now setting up in his blind. Hopefully, if I don't get nothing, hopefully he does. So if he does, I know he should be getting some footage too. So but yeah, we'll see today, see tonight, see what happens. I'm not gonna lie, when I pulled up it sounded like I heard some dogs barking, so I really hope that they're not gonna show up again. But we're all in the spot now, settled in. Got my bow sitting over here on my bag. I need a bow stand. That way I can stand my bow up instead of laying it down. A lot of movement, especially in a blind with no backdrop, no black backdrop. So, and but if you can hear, if you listen closely, I'm kind of thinking we're probably not gonna have much luck tonight. I'm gonna be honest with you, and the reason behind that is because I can still hear these dogs, and they're over there barking and probably chasing all the deer that were gonna come on this place away. So I'm dealing with that. But all you can do is come and sit. I needed to adjust that camera. I was getting pictures on it earlier, and there was some branches and stuff in the way. So I'll go over there. Well, guys, I've actually had to go ahead and call it quits early tonight. Ever since I've been here, them dogs have just still been barking, kind of messing up everything, and they're all over the place. Probably chasing all the deer that are supposed to be here, but I've just decided to go ahead and call it, pack up my stuff. It's just the wind I was given. I'm not going to go to my other spot with the wrong wind, Just doesn't make any sense. But, you know, at the same time, I would rather come here and sit and not mess anything up as far as my wind goes. So, a little update on what we're doing here. So I know yesterday we had our deer chased out by a pack of rabid dogs, and this morning I actually went to work and I actually seen one of them running around in the back. So I know they're still out there, but I haven't seen them. We're over by that spot right now, and I haven't seen them yet. So hopefully they are gone. Hopefully the dog catcher picked them up. I highly doubt it, but hopefully he did. That would be nice. But on a better note, yesterday when I left the spot, I was looking for the dogs, or tried to find their owners so maybe I could talk to them to getting their dogs put up. And I came around the backside of this property, and right around this curve right here, there's a big field. It's actually part of an airport. It's a municipal airport here in Holdenville, but it's all public land. And there was a group of probably 5 does sitting probably 20-30 yards right off the side of the road. And I had a little bit of light left, and I was gonna turn around and try to make a move on them, but I decided against it because I figured, well, we'll just come back today and we will go ahead and make a game plan up and try to figure out what we're gonna do as far as getting on them and figuring out which way they're coming from, what way to play our wind, where could we set up and stuff like that. Sadly, I do not have a saddle stand or a self-climber. I do have a self-climber, but it's not here right now. It's at another spot outside of town. It's actually in another town, probably about 25 minutes away from here. So, but we're just hanging out right now. It's probably about, I think it's 6:50, maybe almost 7. And we're just checking out this spot right here. Me and my buddy Trevor. Trevor, say what's up.
What's up?
He's a whiz kid. We love him. But see if I can turn this around for y'all. Right there. So I seen a patch of deer right out by that wood line over there. I'm just hoping that they show back up again and give us an opportunity to see which way they're moving and how they're moving. But we probably won't set up on them depending on the wind. I'm guessing they're coming in from the south, and so we won't be able to play a south wind, and sadly we have a south wind for like the next 5 days.